cold at the touch, dead in the eyes, no signs of life no more. I put your love under the knife. Leave me to die here all alone. No signs of life no more, no. A crying dove may never fly. Black and white. Black and white, just let me go. It's only right for all I know. It's only matter. It's calico. It's black and white. Just let me go. It's only right for all I know. It's only matter. It's calico. It's black and white. White. Black and white. Black and white. It's black and white. It's black and white.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening indeed, and welcome to Simracersworld TV, and welcome to the new era of TCR racing on this channel and in this community. The Z1 Dashboard Simracersworld TCR Winter Series, and here we are at Snetterton, one of the toughest circuits in the UK. My name is Chaz Draycott, and I'm delighted to have joining me in the commentary box tonight Peter MacKay. Peter, we've wanted to commentate on touring car racing together for so long, and now we finally have that chance, mate.
We do indeed. It's an absolute pleasure to be joining in the commentary box for this winter TCR series here on Simracersworld TV, and what a circuit to start at! The home of the British Touring Car Championships first and I believe only ever night race as well. They did, that's right.
Apologies, guys. I was on mute for a second there. I've not had much experience in this car and this series. Apologies, though, for the mute there. That's another curse. Ollie Slade pointing it out. But to be honest, Peter, I mean, I was just saying then, wasn't I, the fact that, you know, this series, they've done a great job of turning it around from what was going to be a GT4 league, but everybody absolutely loved the idea of getting TCR cars back on this community channel again.
Absolutely. I mean, touring car racing always is going to be kind of, if you want crash bang wallop entertainment, you cannot look past touring cars really anywhere on four wheels, and this Audi TCR machine is perfectly matched to it, and it's you know, it's a car which is quite tricky to master. Front wheel drive, quite a lot of power as well, with quite a strange sort of differential. So if you're not used to this sort of car, it does take a bit of acclimatizing to, but a lot of the drivers in the field, as you mentioned, are very familiar with this form of racing, and of course the short quick fire heat racing format as well lends to that as well. And of course the Audi factory have a brilliant successful career in touring car racing, including of course who could forget the A4 Quattro back in the late 90s with a certain Frank Biela on board. I had a remote control replica car of that very race car.
Oh yeah, what a good bit of kit that was as well. Certainly certainly looked the part, sounded the part as well, as we all know.
Oh.
But to be honest, I mean, just looking at the times here, Miguel Freitas now down in 16th place. Now some of these quick times are coming in. We've got Corentin Guinez at the top at the moment in the 333 car for HM Engineering, with the Logitech logo down the side of it. A lot of very, very pretty cars in this league, and well, here's Damien Owen Harris for Fiercely Forward, and we always do say on this channel that the Fiercely Forward cars look good, and that TCR is no exception.
Absolutely, yeah, it really does there, doesn't it? The Bumblebee paint scheme, and hopefully that lion on the side of the car, hopefully it will as we quite fittingly come through Murray's Corner, hopefully that car won't be emulating a certain Rory Butcher and Tom Ingram from their week visit to Snetterton. I'm still sore about it. I'm still very sore about it. I've not been able to sleep, Chaz. I was just devastated. I'm not even going to try and be impartial through this touring car series. I'm sure you and I are going to fall out at some point over this.
Probably. We probably will. You never know, mate. We've got Ben Thayens on track and his teammate Bram Van Putten from G-Drive Racing Exemia as well. Now these two obviously doing an amazing job this season in the Virtual Belcar E-Series, winning that championship for G-Drive, and well, Bram Van Putten currently fastest. Freitas has gone back up to 5th. Lewis Ward for Team 11. Good to see Lewis out there in his new livery. Very nice looking car indeed. Gregory Vranks goes up to 6th. He's definitely one to watch. I'm just looking further down the list for any other names I recognise. Some of the SimTech Racing guys, Sim Stickers as well. Daniele Giudici and Ross Nicholson, his teammate. Scott Malcolm out there for Team Mad. And Jason Rowe also joining him in that team. Good to see Jason out there. Been racing with Jason for years. Ryan Walker is out there for Nomad Sim Racing. He's back from the first season. Taylor Lane, he's out there in the red fiercely forward car. That looks fantastic.
Ooh, I like that.
Absolutely stunning. He's probably going to tell me it's not red, it's magenta or something like that. We've got Scotty Angelo and Jason Guerrara in the Simtech cars. Now, these guys, while having a similar livery, they do have different sort of primary colours on the car. Who else have we got? Keanu Reeves, Beef Bourguignon, who I commentated a couple of times in the Simracersworld 2.4 Hours of Le Mans, and I believe in the virtual Bell Car E-Series as well. I'm not sure if he was in that one, but yeah, Keanu was very much on board with me getting the nicknames out, so I do know him as Keanu Reeves, Beef Bourguignon. He's a great driver, though, very good indeed, and we all know how we feel about Flemish Sim Sports liveries on this channel. Fraser Smith back out there. Now, Fraser, he was very quick towards the second half of last season as Guinez goes back to the top by 20 thousandths of a second. Fraser Smith, there you go, has just been displaced another time round by Ben Thanes. But Fraser, to be fair, is definitely one to watch, I'd say, this season. Who else have we got? Mats Borg Anderson for Shearbox TC Motorsport. It should be Sharebox, I think, but the team name says Shearbox, and hopefully he doesn't shear a box in this one, because he won't be going very far. But again, it's just acclimatising to new liveries, getting used to a new format. We've got a lot to look forward to tonight, haven't we, Peter?
Well, do you know, that's funnily enough. I feel like I'm in a safe place with you, Chaz, because I'm sure you'd agree with me that at the beginning of a season, one of my favourite things about the beginning of any season, whether it be virtual or otherwise, is the new liveries. And there's nothing that annoys me more when a team literally slaps on the same livery as the year before. I just think, come on, like, even if you have to use the same colours, I get that, whoever's paying to have their name on the car, I understand. But I love when, for example, in the MotoGP world, Suzuki have done a brilliant 100th anniversary paint scheme this year. They've changed up their paint scheme, and funnily enough, they're 1-2 in the championship. So,
nice.
So there you go. Clearly, it works. Good liveries make you go faster. So, and I tell you what, that Team Mad car looks. That is. I bet you're having a bit of a moment here with all the spec maps on that one, Chaz.
Yeah, been good friends with Team Mad for a few years now, and Dave Crozier and all of his boys. And they've always had some incredible drivers in these TCR cars, and Miguel Freitas, obviously reigning champion with that gold number board on the side. They've gone for a really nice metallic front end on that car. A couple of them last season had slightly different colours on the front. Some were darker than others, I should say. We've got Mark Woodhouse this season. He was a force to be reckoned with last time out as well. He's currently 25th, which shows you how incredibly tough this season's going to be. And something that I was talking to Ian Roots about beforehand was the I rating of some of these drivers that we've got in this championship tonight. At the top two at the moment, Corentin Guinez has got 6,846 I rating. Bram Van Putten is 7,100, and he's just given 100 of that to Fraser's rear end there as they go into the hairpin. Norbert Leitner, he's got 5,775, and I believe there was a gentleman that signed up with 8,000. But we've got drivers a bit further down the order that haven't even got four figures. I mean, Jason Guerrara, he's 973 I rating. We've got Craig Schill, who is 888. But these guys they're looking to get out there and get involved in some proper, fierce competitive racing, and this is the best way to do it. And speak of spec maps, good lord, hello. Wow, that's Team Ignium, that is. That's gorgeous.
Well, I actually have. So last year we went over to the Isle of Isla for a good friend of mine's stag party. Andy Bell, hello. I know you're not listening, but I'll say hello anyway. And one of the best man on that particular stag do, or bachelor party, if you like. They said that I won't give the exact word for word, but basically, let's just say it was strange shirt night. You can probably fill in the rest.
Okay.
And I have a shirt it's still in my possession that looks quite similar to that blue and black sort of tiger print on there. And it's a little bit sort of Stifler American Pie, but it works. It looks better on an Audi TCR car than it does around my slightly oversized body.
Well, if that's how you want to go about it, mate, then fair enough. I need to see a picture of this. Anton Dupin, it's great to see Anton out on circuit, the Flemish Sim Sports driver. He's always so active in our YouTube chats and so active in the community. He's always helping out and giving his comments where needed and where sometimes not requested, but always entertaining either way. But to be honest, I'm very, very pleased to see him out there. and I look forward to seeing how he gets on. Fiercely forward GSI, obviously some part of a Vauxhall dealership somewhere. Jessica Myers racing for them. I remember when they did the Zafira GSI. It was fantastic. It was a big beefy thing, and it was rapid. It's awesome.
Is that not the Zafira VXR, was it not?
Yes, they did do a VXR, didn't they?
Yes, they did. Yeah, and you think, oh, well, that's all kinds of contradictory. Now, I have to say, look at the back of this fiercely. This is already my favourite car. Look at, there's a dog on the back of it.
Oh,
with
yes.
The tow hook is like a red tongue. That is absolutely fantastic.
Oh, and straight off the bat, don't forget,
no.
We're in a heat racing format. So, as soon as qualifying ticks over to 15 minutes, it is gone. So we're going to have to fly through this huge grid. We've got Corentin Guinez and Bram Van Putten on the front row, with Damien Harris and Miguel Freitas on row 2. Then we have Lewis Ward and Matthias de Tige, with Norbert Leitner and Matthew Crisp on row 4. Keanu Reeves is on 9th place, with Naveed Hussein in 10th. And it's Ben Thayens and Gregory Vranks in 12th. Then we have Borg Anderson, or Matthias Borg Anderson, with Ross Nicholson and Mark Woodhouse and Fraser Smith on the 8th row. Then it's Ashley Gaffal. Then it's Paul King, Scott Malcolm and Chris Wood, with Michael Blake. Good to see Michael out there. Anton Dupin 22nd. Jessica Myers, who we were just looking at there, in 23rd. Niels Manshanden is 24th. And then even more. Bram Class and Jason Rowe on row, what would that be? 13. Do you maths, Chaz? Rob Sutherland alongside Neil Stevenson. Then it's Daniele Giudici, Scotty Angelo and Dominic Bross, with Carl Lukeman rounding out your top 30. Then we have Niels de Kuiper, Jürgen Knockart, and then we have Joachim Gulbrandsen and Ryan Walker in 36th. And then we have Rob Jackson and Jason Guerrara, Craig Schill and Taylor Lane. And shout out to Bart Daleman as well. Series organiser, has signed up as a driver just for the lols. But we have this fantastic field ahead of us. Not much to go off at the moment though, Peter, but we'll have to see what we can make of these first couple of races. We're just waiting for Taylor Lane to take to the back of the grid. I'm not sure if he put a time in, but I think he may have disconnected from the session. Either way, those front 6, I'd say, I've seen before, are all very, very quick drivers. Norbert Leitner is 7th in the HM Engineering car, 2 of them in the top 7. And the first car to be a repeat of its teammate. So it shows that it's not going to be a certain team dominating, I don't think, this season. But I was just about to ask the question, Peter, but unfortunately, well, I'll say unfortunately, it's time to go in the Z1 dashboard Simracersworld TCR Winter Series, and we're away. And what a launch by Corentin Guinez. You can hear that none of the drivers built the revs up to try and get the wheel spin off the line. They wanted a flat start. They're all trying to filter through, single file through there. We'll have to pick out anybody that makes any contact. We'll file back through, see what goes on. Looks like everybody's behaving themselves at the moment. Maybe. I say maybe. Definitely maybe at the moment. Go to the chopper cam. Oh, there's a bit of contact there. That's one of the Sim Stickers cars pitched into a slide. That's Ross Nicholson, I think. Manages to make a bit of contact with Bram Class on the outside. Oh, there's contact further back, though. That's Rob Sutherland around. Bit of a traffic jam on the way through there. They all seem to survive, but first couple of corners at this point, Peter, lively indeed.
Certainly is lively, that's for sure. It's touring car racing all round. Rob Sutherland, unfortunately, falling victim to the opening melee. A fellow Renault Sport Clio owner as well, so it's sad to see him off. But Damien Owen Harris has made a great start in the I was about to say, is there any other manufacturer in his Audi for Fiercely Forward? He's up into 2nd spot, and he's putting some big pressure here on Guinez for HM Engineering, one of the real rising lights in sim racing right now.
And Bram Van Putten has dropped 4 places on this first lap. Matthew Crisp's just dropped a few places as well. Looks like maybe a slowdown for him. It's close in the background between Ashley Gaffale and Scott Malcolm in the Team Mad machine. Now, it's going to be interesting here to see how they figure this out with Matthew Crisp in there. Oh, that's the 101 of Mats Borg Anderson. Just trying to take a bit of a different line into Brundle and Nelson. Slots in behind him. He's not too happy about that. And for the first time this season, we're going to go on board with the Chaz Rasp Cam and the raspy engine of these Audi RS3 LMS TCR cars. The name obviously rolling off the tongue. But this is one of my favourite cameras in sim racing. The gearbox cam on this car, it's so well placed. It looks at such a good angle, but listen to that noise.
Oh, I feel like we should get a Brussels sprout sponsor for this particular camera as well. It sounds wonderfully flatulent as we come over the line. Gee whiz, a 206.5 from a standing start in a TCR car at Snetterton. That is serious pace at the front as they pile into Wilson's, previously known as Montreal, shaped by circuit owner Jonathan Palmer while sitting watching the Canadian Grand Prix. Is how he designed that particular corner.
A little bit of a kiss there from Miguel Freitas on the back of Damien Harris' car. Miguel wants to instantly go after defending his title here. He doesn't want to let anything rest. We've got 3 races for you tonight. Neil Stephenson's had to go back to the pits, I'm afraid, for Simtech Racing. Not quite sure what's happened to him. I'll have to have a little look back in a moment. Looks like Joachim Gulbrandsen's had an issue as well. Damien Harris getting squeezed out there through Hamilton. It's always a tricky part of the circuit, isn't it, to try and stay, I should say, as one. But if you just put your nose down the inside, you can easily put yourself off through there, can't you?
Yeah, this Snetterton 300 layout, it's incredibly tricky, really underrated circuit here. Oh, Stevenson loses it on the grass there.
Oh.
Yeah, coming out of turn 1. And I think that was Ryan Walker. Did he make contact there? It just blinked out. Oh, he did. Oh, Ryan straight in the wall. Now, is that the same Ryan Walker of Race Spot and GSRC fame?
It is not. It is not, actually.
Different Ryan Walker.
It confused me for a while because I always wondered if he drove for Nomad, and that is Ross Nicholson going for a bit of a venture onto the A11. Let's have a look what happened to him. We've also lost Neil Manchanden as well, just behind this, I think, or just in front of this. Oh, he's gone off all on his own in the Ignium car. Now, that looks great with the white on it. And then Ross Nicholson's going to arrive on the scene. No, he's not. Camera deceiving me. Plenty going on already, though. We've got Matthew Crisp right on the back of Mark Woodhouse as well here. Sorry, just in front of Mark Woodhouse, I should say. Sorry, no, it's Mats Borg Anderson. Here he is, chasing the fiercely forward car down. Look at the understeer through there. And I'm not sure if you've driven this car, Peter. And I've got very limited in experience, like I say, but it feels so heavy at the front, this car. It really is all about throttle control out of corners.
Yeah, it's a really, really difficult car to get used to. If you're used to rear-wheel drive, if you're used to GT machines, it's a whole nother animal. But if you can develop a style to it, it's very, very satisfying to get right. And you can drive it, you just wouldn't believe what it can do. Once you understand the style you need to drive it, it's like any touring car, really. You watch the guys that are really, really at the top of their game in a touring car, you sort of stand there at the side of the track going, how on earth are they doing that? And that's kind of the sort of otherworldly talent that's required to make these things go quick.
Yeah, there is just such control needed. I don't understand how people do it, in all honesty. It's pretty scary, but you know, these guys, they're all doing a good job so far. We've got Lewis Ward in 3rd place. Lewis has got a lot of fans in the Simracersworld community. In the Team 11 car, another good-looking bit of kit. He's got Norbert Leitner just behind him. Now Norbert started 7th on the grid, up into 4th place at the moment. Doing a fine job there. We've got a bit of argy-bargy. I say argy-bargy, it's just swapping places here between Scott Malcolm and Paul King. Then we've got Michael Blake just behind him, and in there Anton Dupin as well. Anton's having a bit of a look here at Michael. And at this point, I mean, early on in the season, you just want to bag the points, don't you? You want to just try and keep it sort of as stable as possible, really. You want to just try and get those points early on so you're not on the catch-up for the rest of the season, don't you?
Yeah, I think the main thing with touring car grids, you often get very, very big grids, so you want to try and desperately sort of keep yourself safe. And, you know, sometimes you just got to back out of those sort of 50-50 situations and just try and like you say, bag the points as often as you can. It's you're never going to go and win all 3 races in a row. It's just not going to happen with the reverse grids and stuff. So yeah, I think you're right. That patience is vitally important in the touring cars.
Patience like that down the inside. Anton Dupin disposes of Scott Malcolm, gives him a bit of a tap. Bram Class got held up in this as well. I want to have a look at this from Bram's point of view. You'll see the contact just in front. Down the inside from Anton, maybe just a bit late on the brakes. And then Bram, not really much he could do. He stops the car. The guys behind him avoid him as well. Doing a great job of that. I say guys, it was actually Jessica Myers doing that as well. So Jessica just managing to avoid that incident. But all through the order, it's still so close. This is Matthew Crisp with Mats Borg Anderson still right behind him. And I think we're going to see a lot of this, a lot of nose-to-tail action all season. And to be honest, mate, bring it on. I cannot wait to see how this season develops. We've got 6 weeks, 3 races of each. So we've got 18 races. If you're any good at maths, you would have figured that out before I did. But we've got an interesting calendar as well, a couple of British circuits. Lewis Ward's off the circuit. What has happened to Lewis? Has he got any help? Let's have a look. He's got Norbert Leitner right behind him. No, he's just done it himself. It's easy to do in there. He does make contact with the wall. It is very, very easy to do there, though, isn't it? Especially in a front-wheel drive car, Peter, because you're turning in while braking and then trying to get the weight transferred the other way, but it can so easily just go around and just get away from you.
Yeah, it can. It's this car is you can be amazed the amount of liberties you can take with it, and you just think, how did I get away with that one? But when it does snap away, you're done. So it's again, just the guys that have really put in the practice, and it is hard work, particularly a circuit here like Snetterton. It is really, really hard work to practice because you've got all long straights, and this little car, it's not the quickest in a straight line, but through the corners, that's where it really makes up its lap time.
We've got Andy Hopley in the chat as well. Great to see you, Andy. Hope you're well, mate. We really do need to catch up, my friend, but he's saying that Snetterton bites hard, and yes, it does, mate. It's a very unforgiving circuit. I've never been too sure of the new sort of reworking of it in the midfield, but it did need something adding to it to make it a longer circuit that didn't just look like a square. And to be honest, I think they've done as much as they could have done with it. I think it's very underappreciated. But again, I think that it still looks like it's just a field. When you go there, it is very, very flat, that's for sure. Obviously, being on an airfield, or an old airfield, that is. But still, like you say, though, I mean, the straights, they give us some nice slipstreaming opportunities and plenty of overtaking chances at the ends of them as well. And, I mean, I was here earlier in the year for the Citroen 2CV 24 hours of Snetterton, and one of the support races with that was the MSA Supercarts, which, let me tell you, you've got to be a bit bonkers to get behind the wheel of. And they were doing 150 miles an hour down the back straight.
150 miles an hour in a go-kart, basically. That is wow. That's that takes guts. In fact, there was a lot of they actually. Do you remember the beautiful Bentley Speed 8 LMP car in the kind of early 2000s? They actually developed that here.
Oh, right.
There's a lot of very famous race cars were developed here. The BMW V12 LMR that was built by Williams, it was tested here, and also the original Lotus 49 with the Cosworth DFV in the back.
It's amazing what you know, isn't it, to be fair? And to be honest, it's always good to have Peter on here. I'll speak to you as the audience, guys. Honestly, Peter is like an encyclopedia of motorsport knowledge with things like that. I love it. It's absolutely brilliant, and it does help. We've got Matthias de Tige at the moment, who is feeling like he needs to give a bit of help to Keanu Bourguignon in the Flemish Sim Sports car, but he needs to be careful because Naveed Hussein is just behind him in the Ignium Motorsport machine. Then it's Fraser Smith in Full Send Racing, and trust me, the name does stand for, well, does what it says on the tin, let's say. They are tin tops, aren't they? But it's great to have another series, especially a series with as many drivers in it as this, on the Simracersworld TV channel. You can just see how the car tries to break away there. Careful on the throttle on the way out. Don't break traction too early. Use all the power that you can. You can just see how sharp these guys have got the front end set up, so it tips the rear around. We've got 2 more races coming after this as well, guys, so effectively we're a sixth of the way through the racing this evening. 3 20-minute races, 11 and a bit minutes gone, and, well, Corentin Guinez has currently got a 3.5 second lead at the front here, Peter, and we weren't expecting people to walk away with it, but this is certainly the start of a very good season if he continues this.
Absolutely, yeah. It's always, you want to get that good result in early, and also it's psychologically to your competitors as well, because if you're not that guy at the front, you're thinking it can be a little bit kind of discouraging at times. You can just be like, goodness me, how am I gonna live with this? So yeah, it's definitely it's like the first tackle in a rugby game, isn't it? You want to make sure that you've you put them on the floor, and you put them on the floor hard at the start of the start of the game. Yeah, with the racing, it's exactly the same thing for Guinness. He'll just want to get that win under the belt and get the points on the board, because everyone, we can guarantee, you know, there's a few things in life that are certain: death, taxes, and crashes in touring car racing. So I think that's what everyone's going to have their fair share of those. It's just who gets the points on the board and who maximises those opportunities.
Indeed, and this battle's getting even spicier now, because Fraser Smith closer to the back of Naveed Hussain, as we have Dettige and Bourguignon holding this lot up here. Ben Thayens is side by side with Gregory Vranks. Gregory's always been quick in these cars. It's two black, white and orange TCR cars on the Simracersworld channel. It's not a scene that we haven't seen before. Matthew Crispin there behind them as well. This is so feisty here. There's a bit of a check up there as Woodhouse goes into the back of him. Mats Borg Anderson in there, then Chris Wood. Mark Woodhouse's teammate. Lewis Ward now trying to recover in the 24 machine. He's in there too. So this is really dicey in the midfield. We'll go on a chopper cam just so you can all see the snake of Audis just making their way through here. And again, we've said it before that overtaking is not the easiest thing to do here. Yeah, sure, you can get a bit of slipstream down the straights, but when you're in a train like this, it becomes half impossible because you get too scared to go for a move, don't you?
Yeah, exactly, indeed. And it's you've really got to be used to running in the pack as well. It's a completely new skill. You know, a lot of the time, depending on the sim equipment that you've got, depending how many screens you've got, or virtual reality headset, or whatever it might be, you sometimes you can actually see virtually nothing of yourself. It feels like you sat low in the car. So you've kind of got to play about with the field of view on iRacing to make sure that you've got the best possible visibility that you can, because you just never know what might be occurring just shortly ahead.
Yeah, it's a very good point, as Naveed Hussain has a bit of a blink there, in and out. Not the ideal thing. Fraser Smith trying to add 15 brake horsepower to his Audi and flash the lights. We've got Mark Woodhouse just ahead of this battle with Mats Borg Anderson and Chris Wood. Side by side, the Team Mad car side by side with the Sharebox TC Motorsport. It's not a McNugget Sharebox though, which is my favourite type. As now look at this. Chris Wood going back the other way, down the inside into Wilson's. On the brakes, he's opening the door now for Lewis Ward, who's going to try and follow him through there as well. They're still side by side though as they leave that down towards Palmer's. Lewis Ward nearly making contact with Anderson. Anderson holds onto the inside line. Great side-by-side stuff. Round the outside goes Chris Wood. He's probably going to carry the speed there and get it done. Oh, there's a touch. The two cars get together. I don't think he knew that Lewis Ward had the overlap. Very close onto the brakes. We've got Naveed Hussain off the circuit just ahead of them. Looks like Chris Wood has got... Yeah, Chris Wood's got through. Lewis Ward has not, but wow. That was some proper door-to-door touring car racing there, mate.
It was indeed, and this is what we have come for, is this brilliant side-by-side action in these wonderful Audi RS3 LMS machines. Or is it Audi RS3 LMS TCR? I don't know.
Yeah.
They're never catchy names, are they?
No, they do tend to extend them further and further. And it leads me on to the point that Volkswagen annoyed me a lot. Not that they care, but Volkswagen annoyed me a lot by calling one of their road cars the Volkswagen Golf GTI TCR. Because whenever you try and Google it and look for the TCR car, all you get is just another knockoff version of a Golf R. It's very frustrating.
Well, it is front-wheel drive though, so it's of course the Golf R being four-wheel drive, which actually I do share your displeasure with VW, because I had the great fortune to have not one but two different Golf Rs over my time, and a brilliant car. But now the new one is DSG only, no manual gearbox, and just like get in the sea, no thanks.
Get in the sea.
I mean, it's just like, why would you possibly not have a manual gearbox? Anyway, I'll go back on my old rocking chair now.
Well, these are all flappy paddles as well. That bothers me. But Keanu Bourguignon is having to stop Dettige bothering him at the moment. Matthias Dettige, probably one of my favourite drivers from season 1 of the Simracersworld TCR series. We've had Dominic Bross on De Gross. Let's have a look what's happened here. The Swiss driver just into Brundle Nelson. Oh, we're going to see a lot of that tonight. Very sideways. And then he's just going to collect his thoughts and get back off the A11. Mats Borg Anderson, by the way, has lost out to Lewis Ward, it seems. Lewis getting through very recently. I'm intrigued by this battle near the front, though. Bram Van Putten's just gone back ahead of Miguel Freitas. Let's have a look at how he's done that, if we can. Oh, okay, so he's blinked in and out, and then it's counted him as being behind him, so it must have been before that. But still, I think that Van Putten's done a good job there. Freitas is now having to defend from Damien Harris. Ryan Walker just getting out of the way there of Norbert Leitner, who's trying to get further inside the top 5. But we've only got 2.5 minutes left of this race to go already here, Peter. It's flown by, and to be honest, I don't want the season to fly by, but if the racing stays as great as this and as close as this, I'm all for it.
I think it will, yeah, and that's the great thing about touring car racing as well, is that you can bring it, especially with the reverse grid formats too, you can bring drivers in that might not necessarily be able to lay down the same ultimate pace in qualifying, but the nature of these cars, you can follow very closely. They're not so aero dependent, and they do draft reasonably well. So, you know, you like you see, you get a huge train of cars appearing, and you know, if you're in the train, you can you can go for a bit of a lunge. And the thing is, a bit of a lunge is far more socially acceptable in GT, where they're like, oh, he hit me, oh, he hit me. You don't really hear that in touring car racing. It's just like, oh yeah, he shoved me out of the way. But you know, that's just the way it is. You know, you can get away with a whole lot more. So yeah, it's a different form, but I have to say, I'm almost surprised by the serenity at the front right now. These guys are all going, oh no, after you. But actually, I feel this isn't going to last very long, Chaz. I feel won't be long before they're taking lumps out of each other.
Oh no, honestly, mate, you give it till, I'd say, probably the 22nd of December, when we get to the last race meeting. Those gloves will be so far off, they'll have left them at Snetterton. And to be honest, I'm all for that as well, because you do like to see a bit of elbows out in touring cars. Maybe not too much. You still need to keep it nice and respectful, but you know, you can still get door to door in these things and get away with it. We've seen it happen before, so as long as they do stay somewhat respectful, we should be absolutely golden. But Keanu Bourguignon, he's doing a great job of holding this train of cars back at the moment. Oh, we've got Niels Manchander has had an issue. He's in the Ignium Motorsport machine, onto the brakes into here, a bit late, has to chuck it in one way. Oh, how he didn't hit anyone there, I don't know, but that was a great effort, that. Fair play.
Yeah, it certainly was, to hang on to that, Mr. Using Matrix-like reactions there.
Was indeed. Now look at this. Ben Thayen's down the inside of Fraser Smith. Fraser's having to hold on around the outside of Coram. No one wants to do that. He's going to be on the inside for Murray's. Stays there now. The door's going to open behind him a little bit. Good respect there from Ben Thayens to run wide and just give him the room. Gregory Vranks is going to try and come through. Corentin Guinez is, by the way, on his final lap of the race in the first race of the evening. Into turn 1 they go. It's getting a bit feisty behind. That's Matthew Crisp on Mark Woodhouse. Chris Wood in there as well. Look at it in front. It's getting very feisty between Thayens and Smith. This is a great battle, guys. Absolutely loving this. Gregory Vranks in there too. Woodhouse has lost out to Chris. Bit of a kiss on the exit as well. This is what we want to see, isn't it, mate? This is great.
This is what we're talking about. Yeah, look at that. Oh, but I'll tell you what, I wondered when we could make the first Audi driver flashing their headlights reference. I feel like that's going to get well worn out. And once we got onto that, we'll get onto BMW drivers flashing their headlights in the outside lane of the M6 as well. And he's so you see, oh, there you go, the 909 there going up the inside of Mark Woodhouse there. The 909 car. Now, who's in the 909?
Yeah,
that
Gregory
is Gregory Vranks.
Oh no! Matthew Crisp has been turned. Is he going to hit anyone else? He is. Oh, it's Lewis Ward.
Bang!
Matthew Crisp, but now, he's been hit again as well by Naveed Hussain. Matthew Crisp just got a little bit of a tap. Oh, this was the earlier bit. Apologies. Matthew Crisp, as they came through, slowed up a little bit, got back in line, and Lewis just tips the back of him. So Lewis sort of got a bit of karma there as he came back on, hit Lewis again, and then he just pulls over to the right, and Naveed Hussain has seen the gap, goes for it, and unfortunately doesn't get through it, and he's had a bit more of an issue trying to get back on. But out of the final corner, with all that going on, he doesn't care that it's gone on. Corentin Guinez is coming round the final corner out of Murray's to take the very first win In the Z1 dashboard, Simracersworld TCR Winter Series. Great drive. Bram van Putten, second place. Miguel Freitas holds on to third. Damien Harris, fourth. And Norbert Leitner, fifth. Wow. Fantastic stuff from them. And who's going to be next? Is it going to be Keanu Reeves, Beef Bourguignon, or is it going to be Matthias de Tees? It's Bourguignon. Great stuff. That was probably my favourite battle in the field, that. Plenty of stuff going on there with those guys as the rest of the field filter their way through. But you have to be so careful in those battles. And we just saw a little moment there where I don't particularly think that was either Matthew or Lewis's fault. You know, they both tried to slot into the line as it was... The gap was just slowly disappearing, and you're gonna see a bit of that, aren't you? Because they're so close together, so nose to tail. It's hard to know with moments like that.
Yeah, I think so. You see it at the very highest level as well. When you put a big grid of touring cars together with, so you don't even have to put feisty drivers in them. They just, I don't know what it is about a touring car that turns you into a complete yob. It certainly does for me anyway. I just, you think, right, I'm going to take this race easy. I'm just going to be calm. And yeah, that was, like you say, just a racing incident. But for whatever reason, it you know, it had pretty significant looking circumstances there as well. But we see it all the time in touring car racing, and this is what I'm sure we all came for. It's certainly what I came for. But a crash bang wallop. What a video!
Indeed. Well, there is your first race winner, everybody. Corentin Guinez, the Frenchman, taking his very first win in this championship and the very first win of this season. He's got his teammate there, Norbert Leitner, just weaving side to side behind him. And well, that was a very lively race one. But I just want to point out how international this series has gone as well, because we've got a Frenchman winning the race. Bram van Putten is Dutch in second. Then we've got Miguel Freitas from Portugal, Damien Harris, the Brit, the Hungarian Norbert Leitner, and then Keanu Bourguignon, the Belgian. It's only until we get down to 7th place that we've got a repeat of nationality. But still, second race of the night is about to get underway, and we have the same grid as the finishing result from race 1. So, Corentin Guinez, Bram van Putten, Miguel Freitas and Damien Harris. Then it's Norbert Leitner, Keanu Bourguignon, Matthias de Tees and Fraser Smith. Ben Thanes and Gregory Ranks round out the top 10 ahead of Mark Woodhouse and Matsborg Anderson. Then we have Chris Wood and Naveed Hussein, Ashley Gaffol and Michael Blake. Then it's Anton Dupan and Paul King, Jessica Myers and Scott Malcolm round out your 20. Then we have Scotty Angelo and Taylor Lane, Ross Nicholson and Jason Rowe. Then it's Niels de Kuiper, Daniele Giudici, Rob Sutherland, Rob Jackson, and Niels Manhanden and Joachim Gulbranson. Lewis Ward and Dominic Bross are on row 16 with Jürgen Nocker and Carl Lukman behind them. And then on the 18th row, it's Jason Guerrara and Matthew Crisp with a bit of work to do coming through the order. Same with Ryan Walker and Craig Schill, Bram Class and Neil Stevenson round out the top 40. So, the second race. Oh, Bram van Putten. That is a DSG gearbox biting you in the backside. Miguel Freitas tries to take advantage and go through. Look at that. Get out of my... Get over there, he says. That's pretty incredible. Very feisty stuff all the way down to turn 1 already here, Peter. That was scary, wasn't it?
Oh, that is just like, the thing is, these are really awkward cars to get off the line because you've got to sort of leave it in neutral, and then they only rev to something, it's like 3,000 RPM or something, and just sort of sits there going, and then you've got to sort of like bang it into gear and off you go. It's a really difficult car to launch. And yeah, well, I think he'd put it in first gear a little bit too early there, and oh dear, that's two of the fiercely forward cars nearly getting fiercely into the side of one another. So they head through Palmer Corner down towards Agostini hairpin, named after the great Giacomo Agostini, one of the most successful motorcycle racer of all time, who, bless him, came here to for the opening ceremony of that particular naming of his corner, which I thought was very nice of him. That's
cool. I like that. A lot of them, if they were at that sort of prowess, some of them wouldn't give them the time of day. We've got Team Mad flying in formation here. This is Mark Woodhouse and Chris Wood. Oh, we've got Ross Nicholson off the circuit again. Ross has had a very, very tough time in the Simracersworld Formula 3 series recently as well, so he wants to try and put that behind him and do a little bit better this time. We've lost Daniele Gradici and Jason Guerrara, who have both gone off track a bit further down. What's happened here through Hamilton? Oh, the tiniest of touches, and Daniele Giudici gets stuck in and gets a bit of a tap, to say the least, there in the Sim Stickers machine. I think two of the cars before that were just making a bit of contact was... No, it wasn't Jürgen. who's in the McDonald's kart, the McDonald's racing team that was in the virtual Bell Car E-Series. I think it might have been... No, it wasn't Craig Schill either. Trying to figure out who was guilty of making the contact side by side before, but either way, it continues. But it is a very good looking grid. Paul Godden saying just that. Organisers should be very pleased. We are. It's fantastic. So the top 5 on that first lap then, Peter, they've all stayed in order, but you've got to think Bram Van Putten's going to get a penalty for jumping that start.
Yeah, absolutely, without a doubt. Yep, it was a big move, and there wasn't even just a little twitch that you could maybe get away with. And yep, the iRacing stewards, they're like that. They're like that really stern school teacher. They don't miss anything. They know exactly when you're not behaving, and that's they certainly would. Bram Van Putten will have fallen foul of that. So look at this, Anton Dupin. Now Anton Dupin is we call him Jack Well and I call him Steady Eddie, because he's always up there on the podium in the SRW GT Evo series at the wheel of his beautiful Ford GT. If you think it looks good on an Audi hatchback, wait till you see it on that amazing machine, that livery, the Flemish Sim Sport. But he's a top level driver, and he's in 21st. That just, I think that tells you all you need to know about the depth of field here in the SRW TCR Winter Series, thanks to Z1 Dashboard, or powered by Z1 Dashboard. Would that be better?
I think so. There's
That
probably
seems to be the fashion
we're probably going to give them all the full list of how to name this championship as it goes on anyway, to be fair. So I look forward to seeing what concoctions we come up with. But yeah, Anton lost a few places on that first lap, and I think he's going to really be working hard now to make sure he gets further up the order, but it's easier said than done sometimes. This is Ross Nicholson all over the back of Taylor Lane. Taylor Lane has just won the Simracersworld Formula 3 Series Academy Championship. Oh, and into Gafael. Gafael there having a hit. Oh, that was Jason Rowe going off as well. Jason Rowe getting involved. I want to see what happened to... apparently it's Gafael, sorry. Ashley Gafael. See what happened to him as he lost it on his own in the Ignium car. He has just tried to just sort of adjust his line there, not hit the Team Mad car, and then smack into the side goes Taylor Lane, and then Jason Rowe somehow missing the pair of them. Wow, just shows you how scary that part of the circuit is. And Bram Van Putten has come in for that stop-go penalty.
It's a stop and hold as well. That's a nightmare as everyone flows by. And there goes the Simtech racing machine, sponsored by Oceana Coffee. And is that a Damon Hill replica helmet? I think it is. Number 7 machine. So Bram Clays, I'm certainly getting that on my screen. That is definitely a London Rowing Club helmet design on in that car. Is that, are you getting that on your screen, Chaz?
I am. Oh, Taylor Lane's had another issue.
Oh, Taylor. I tell you what, Taylor is never short of excitement. He always gives us entertainment. Incredibly quick when he keeps it on the track. He's very much a Gilles Villeneuve type, and off he goes there. Yeah, he's always. He definitely drives the right team. He's always driving fiercely forward. That's for sure.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. And here's someone that's going to be looking fiercely backward at the moment through his mirror. Mats Borg Anderson trying to hold Mark Woodhouse at bay. And he's also trying to hold Naveed Hussein at bay. And Naveed has been stuck in so far, it's safe to say. Absolutely on it currently is Naveed. No shortage of action in this midfield so far. Look at the overspeed that he's got there. Down the inside of Anderson. They're very close to contact. Into Brundle and Nelson. Big hop over the curb from Mats there. Manages to keep it on the circuit just about. Now Damien Harris and Norbert Leitner are close together a bit further up the order as well. This is for the final podium spot. The fiercely forward machine with the HM Engineering RS3 just behind him. You can see Norbert tries to hang back a bit and get a good run down the straight. I'm not sure if it's worked for him yet. Let's go to the one camera that will tell us the truth. Doesn't look like he's making much time up there though, does it?
No, it's of course the drivers can play about their setups with the wing and what have you. So some drivers prefer a little bit more downforce, and or some prefer to really trim the car out. It very much depends. Also, the exit out the corner is vitally important in these front-wheel drive machines. They've got a lot of power, over 350 horsepower. I mean, they really struggle to put that down at times. So really managing that drive out the corner is very, very important indeed. But Damien Harris, the 29-year-old from Braintree, is doing a good job there, holding off the fourth place HM Engineering machine of Norbert Leitner. a lot of very quick drivers race for that team. Kieran Harrison being one in that RS3 LMS. Now, the strange thing is here, Chaz, is the RS3, the road car, uses a different engine to this one. This uses the kind of standard TCR engine, but the RS3 road car uses a proper lump, a 2.5 litre 5-cylinder warbling 400 horsepower beast of a thing. It understeers like you wouldn't believe, though. I can say from personal experience, typical Audi in that front.
Yeah, put all the power over the front axle and worry about the handling later. It sounds like an RS6, but to be honest, I know what you mean. The 5-cylinder engine, it's a wonderful sounding bit of kit. We've all fallen in love with them over the years of watching Audi in motorsport, especially the old Quattros as well in the World Rally Championship and the Quattro S1s. There's actually a company called ProSpeed. I think they're Bulgarian. They've got a 770 brake horsepower Audi Quattro S1 that they built, and it is, if you've not seen it before on YouTube, anybody, after this broadcast, obviously, do go and check that out, because it's an incredible, incredible car, and because it's recent as well, it's really good footage of it too. This is Matthew Crisp, a bit further down the order in 36th place. Well, I apologise. We're looking at Craig Schill, who's being overtaken by Matthew Crisp. Craig just out there to just get a bit of experience under his belt in this car, in just a privateer for this championship with 888 iRating, just getting out there, and that's one of the main things, isn't it? iRacing is certainly something that it takes a lot of practice and it takes a lot of getting used to, especially if you come from other sims or other racing games, but just getting out there and doing it is the best way of learning it, isn't it? You could do as many laps as you want on your own, but put yourself in a full-on race scenario and just see how you get on, I say.
Definitely, and I think there's a big difference. I mean, if you're watching this broadcast and you're brand new to it, this is what is referred to as a league race. This is a private league where drivers enter like they would for any other race in the real world, for that matter. A local club race, you put your entry in and off you go. The other alternative to race here on iRacing is called an official, which is basically if Brands Hatch said, we're having a race on Friday at 5 o'clock, whoever turns up, off you go. And it's kind of like that, and it is just unbridled chaos. And for, like you, as you rightly say, Chaz, track time is really important. This is a very realistic simulator, and therefore incredibly satisfying when you get right, but it does require some time. So to kind of learn your stripes in this form of racing, you get two things. You get lots of track time, and you get you can actually practice racing wheel to wheel with people without getting nerfed off with someone going up the track backwards.
Yeah, very true. And one of the key sort of advantages of racing in the league as well is a lot of the time, if you're from a similar community to the drivers that race in other leagues that you may have been in, then you'll be racing a lot of the time against people that you know how to race with. You know, you'll have known them from other championships, or even seeing them in official races. You know, with a league, you get the same drivers each time, week in, week out. You know, it's a more realistic representation because, you know, you have to sign up for it. You have to take part. It's not just the odd official race where you might just come across somebody else that you might have seen once before a few years ago. You know, you never know what you're getting sometimes with official races, but in leagues, you get the same guys, and I think that's the main thing. Because I've done a lot of officials, I've done a lot of leagues, and I much prefer the league racing because, you know, there's a bit more of a community behind it. Everybody communicates, everybody gets on, mainly, but everyone knows the rules and they know exactly what to expect. And the league organisers make them so brilliant. I mean, Simracersworld, since I jumped on board with them with the whole Simracersworld TV channel going live as well, I've just seen how much work these guys put in behind the scenes, and it's great to see this championship getting the entries and the attention it deserves.
Absolutely, indeed. Yeah, it all makes it, again, brings it one further step closer to the real world, and aren't we so lucky to have such a close simulation? And we look at Rob Sutherland, Mr. Damon Hill. He's got Damon Hill's helmet on in that car. There's something I thought I'd never say on TV. Rob Sutherland right behind in the Ignium Motorsport machine.
Oh.
Looking for a wee look up the inside here. Agostini's sit on the door. Whoa.
Could have sat on the side skirt.
Yeah, that is such a touring car thing to do. He's like, I'll just lean on here. This is fine, no problem. Oh, here we go into Augie's. Brad Van Putten's punted him off onto the grass. Oh, Rob Sutherland's going, you're kidding.
Well, Bram Van put him off at the moment, I'm afraid. He was, putting him into the green, you could say. Little bit of a cheeky look up the inside, but the gap suddenly closed up. Rob Sutherland deciding he does want to turn in. And, hang on, Gregory Franks. I want to go on board with Mark Woodhouse's car here and look at the sticker on the back of Gregory Franks' car. Because...
Oh, God.
Now, I get annoyed at people that put fake M badges on their BMW 120 diesels thinking that they've got an M1. But that is beyond ironic and I think hilarious from Simracersworld Esports there on Gregory's car. I know that he is a big BMW fan, so that'll be why. Another battle in the midfield here. It seems like we're always looking at completely different ends of the circuit, doesn't it, when we watch these battles? But this field is so huge. I'll show you the map, everybody, just so you can see how spread out the field is at the moment. Even though they're in mainly one big train, we've got 35th place just coming out the final corner now, and P1, Corentin Guinez, is halfway round the lap already, so just shows you how close it is. We've got a couple of stragglers further down that have had their own incidents and just recovering, but wow, this is pretty incredible. Now, we've had the question from Kimber Haight in the YouTube chat asking, does Flemish get the most beautiful livery trophy again? Now, it's a bit early for that, I think, because this Ignium one, I think a few aspects of it have got to grow on me. I really do love the Fiercely Forward livery that Jessica Myers and Taylor Lane are running. That does look amazing with the matte effect on it as well.
And the dog on the back. It's a corgi, I think, on the back of that car.
I think so. Yeah, I would go on board with Anton
with the red tow hook strap. That's doing a great job of mimicking that particular dog's tongue.
It is a very, very interesting way of going about it. I do love that. That is fantastic. We do always love the Flemish Simsports livery. We should probably commentate on the race, to be fair. Oh, Greg drives an M2 competition, Stephen DeWolf says, so that's why.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, he does.
Good PCP. I tell you what, there have been good PCP deals on them in the last wee while.
I can imagine that.
There actually has been. There actually has been. I was sorely tempted at a point. And then I became a commentator.
that gives me all world of hope, I imagine. But Ross Nicholson having another little rough ride here at Snetterton. He's not having the easiest of times so far. Damien Owen Harris and Norbert Leitner are literally glued together, though, for third place at the moment. We've got just over 5 minutes of this race left to go. Again, I can't believe how quickly these are flying by, but there's just so much going on, and every time we look at the timing screen, there's so many cars close together. I just don't know where to look.
No, absolutely. Well, I think this leading pack is the one to stick with because Damien Harris, he's got a little bit of issue here with Norbert Leitner right behind. He's being harassed by the Hungarian. So we're now riding on board with Fraser Smith, full send racing. Is he going to have a lunge here? Oh,
not quite full send.
Dancing it on the nose, not quite. Just sort of half send there and backed out a bit. As we see the Simracersworld car up front now. Chaz came up with this phrase a little while ago with scores. So our dear boss, Mr. Ian Roots, I think he's the Roger Penske of British/Flemish sim racing because he owns the channel, he owns the TV channel, he owns the series, and he's got team cars in the race as well. I mean, what else do you want to own? So I think we call him Roger Roots from now on, or I already am calling him that.
Roger Roots.
He's not so good. He's not so good at finishing more than two servings of Leffe beer before he has to go and have a 12-hour nap.
Oh no! Oh
well, so he's not going to last very long on tour at Zolder.
No. Well, if he if it's expeditions in Belgian beer that you need to get on with Mr. Addison, I'm sure. But
I thought he got a delivery of kegs the other day. So a keg of Leffe, that would be enough to kill off Roger Roots.
It probably would, to be fair. I bought him one a while ago. I bought him a keg of Leffe as well, and I'm pretty sure he finished that in a few days. But I'll have to ask him when I speak to him. I'm going to be commentating with him on Thursday, so it depends how many of the kegs he's got through by then. This is a nice little chase going on. Lewis Ward making his way back through the pack on the back of Paul King at the moment. He's just pulled out of the slipstream down the straight. Got a really good run out of Murray's, and now the car ahead of him, which is Michael Blake, he's going to be giving him a bit of slipstream down there. And through he goes up into 15th. He's gained 16 places in this race so far, matched only by Bram Class of Simtech Racing, who's up to 23rd from, I believe, the very back of the grid. Look at this, though, straight on the attack of the next car. There's just no rest for the wicked at this point, is there, Peter?
Nope, not at all. That's a really good move there at Montreal, or Wilson's, whichever you prefer to call it, round Palmer's. named after Dr. Jonathan Palmer, the circuit owner and designer as well, as they head down towards Agostini. Lewis Ward's looking to snap straight back. Troy Bayliss style going round the outside. Surely that can't fit. Oh, does it though? Oh, get on the power. Up towards another Lewis Hamilton corner here. Side by side. This is a very fast left-hander. Lewis Ward goes around the outside, and he's going to have the inside for Augies. He gets it sealed up. Oh, defend. What? Tell you what, that was a brilliant defence there from Lewis Ward. Very classy.
Gorgeous stuff. Absolutely gorgeous. Manages to get the move done on Michael Blake, and Michael's thinking, how on earth? But to be fair, hats off to Michael Blake as well. You know, he left him the room where he needed it, and that was kept nice and respectful there. Brilliant to see, guys. Absolutely love it. It's always easier to call than when there's not an accident. Chris Wood and Gregory Vranks, they've got Mats Borg Anderson still in there. Matt seems to be stuck in all of the action so far tonight. We've got
looking there at Chris. Sorry, Charlie. Look there at Chris Wood in the 907 Team Mad. That's very much a cool runnings paint scheme on that, with the yellow and the red and the Jamaican flag colours. It's like some people say they can't believe Team Mad they have a touring car team.
Well, especially with his green highlights as well. His teammate a couple of cars ahead, Mark Woodhouse, has the white highlights, and Miguel Freitas, I believe, has I think his were green as well, actually. They know that he just has the black highlights on his car, or very dark blue at least. But it's nice to have those little differences. There are some teams that have completely different looking liveries, and I'm not looking at you lot, Simtech Racing, but there's, to be fair, I say that, Scotty Angelo and Bram Class, almost identical liveries by the look of it. When we go a bit further down, Jason Guerraro's car is completely blue. That couldn't be more blue if it tried. That is like budget RGB right there. But Jason pushing the car around in 32nd. Another one that's just trying to learn the ropes is, Dominic Bross has had a bit of an off himself. But still, we've got back to the point here, though, where we've got 1 minute of this race left to go now.
I know, and there's these guys at the front, they're just all sort of holding, they're just sort of sizing one another up, planning their move. They'll have to make it happen soon. We'll be on to the last lap before we know it. In fact, are we going to... this is going to be very, very tight if we're going to take the white flag or the checkered at the line. I think we'll have one more to go after this, possibly. But, yeah, we'll see how that goes. Norbert Leitner now having a little jink up the inside, going into Brundles and then flicking right into Nelson's over the curbs, back on the... Look how much steering input in there. He's like, turn, stop understeering, through the bomb hole. They go. Now, I've got a story about that one, Chaz, but I'll save it for after this. I'll save you about that one. And then coming through Corums on the side of the tyre for what feels like forever, then flicking back left through Murray's and onto the centre straight. But still, I think it's because these guys are just so evenly matched. There's just not one of them making a mistake, and they're just sort of flying. They're all so good that they can't overtake one another.
Yeah, very...
Apart from Corrington, of course. He's off in his own universe right now.
Yeah, he has disappeared. Dominic Bross has gone off the circuit again here, having a bit of a tough time of it. Back on he goes there. But yeah, we will stick with this lot at the front. Miguel Freitas, currently second place. He finished third in race 1. And the top 10 is reversed on the grid for this final race as well. So that will put Naveed Hussein, who's currently in 10th place after gaining 4. He will go on to pole position for the final race of the evening. We do have I think it's a 15-minute warm-up session or a 10-minute warm-up session before the final race. So Peter and I will just take a quick break and allow you all to just view the cars, and we'll put the timing and everything up for you as well with a bit of music. But we just need to go and get a drink, because as you can imagine, doing 2 races like this quick-fire, it does take its toll. But 3, whoa, thank you to Bart Delman for thinking about us commentators, and of course the drivers as well. Let's not forget that. It must be very difficult to do races, especially when they're this tough and this competitive, one after the other without a break in the middle. That's pretty fierce going, isn't it? It really tests the endurance capabilities of these drivers.
It does, yeah. It certainly does. You know, you think, 20 minutes, that's not that bad, that's no problem. But it really requires, the sim racing has such a demand on the mental aspect. As we see, Corrington Gwynn is going through Nelson's for the last time. And yeah, he's been the man who's mastered that challenge so far today, hasn't he?
He has indeed. I'm very intrigued to see how he gets on, though, coming through from 10th on the grid, whether he can make the moves. I mean, it's been said about Sebastian Vettel quite often that, you know, he won his championships because he managed to get it on pole and drive away, and he didn't have to do too much fighting. But still, what a performance so far from Corentin Guinez. Second win in a row, 2 for 2 in the Z1 dashboard. Simracersworld TCR series. Miguel Freitas holds on to second from Damien Harris, Norbert Leitner, Matthias de Tige and Fraser Smith. Wonderful stuff from them. Ben Thayens 7 seconds back for G-Drive. Keanu Bourguignon 8th, Mark Woodhouse 9th and Naveed Hussein 10th. He'll be on pole for the final race of the night. Another great battle in the midfield there. And here is Paul King stuck between Michael Blake and Jessica Myers. Across the line, there you go. And we've got more close racing further back as well. Rob Jackson has the attentions of Matthew Crisp all over the back of him. Onto the brakes into Murray's. Flicks it one way, then the other. Is Crisp going to get the better of him here? Is he going to get the run? It looks like he is. This is Ash Sutton and Jack Goff style to the line. Don't think he's going to get it. It was a black and yellow car on the outside then as well. Not quite the way of Crisp, that battle. But still, fantastic race from all of these guys there. A lot of fun. But 2 out of 2. Corentin Guinez, well, we've got ourselves a champion favourite, I'm sure.
Yeah, he's been pretty dominant so far, but let's wait and see till we get to some of the other circuits. I mean, if you look at, like, here at Snetterton, it couldn't be in any other county than Norfolk because it is flat as a snooker table. Whereas Road Atlanta, completely different. So definitely up to it so far, but he'll need to turn that car upside down, as will all the other drivers, to get it set up for going to Road Atlanta as well. And of course, we've got Imola as well, I believe, which is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, we've got some wonderful circuits to go on this calendar. I can't wait to get to half of them and see what these cars can do around there, because often it's just one of the beauties of sim racing is that you get to see car and track combos. Watch out for the drifting here, by the way. These guys have been doing it a little bit. But the car and track combos you wouldn't normally see in the real world. Fantastic stuff there by these guys. I think we do have results, by the way, if you want to run us through these ones, Peter. The session's ticked over, so bear with, and we'll get back to that. Hopefully. There we go.
Here
Finally,
we are.
some results.
Yes. So the Frenchman, the 333, Corentin Guinez wins by just under 3 seconds from Miguel Freitas, running the number 1 for Team MAD. Damien Harris finished third in the 503 machine. Norbert Leitner, also for HM Engineering, was fourth, followed by Matthias de Tige, Fraser Smith, Ben Thanes, Keanu Reeves, Beef Bourguignon, Mark Woodhouse, Naveed Hussein, Chris Wood, Mats Borg Anderson, Gregory Vranks, Lewis Ward after that beautiful move around the outside at Agostini's, Michael Blake, Paul King, Jessica Myers in my favourite livery so far in the Fierce Way Forward Vauxhall GSI car. 18th was Anton Dupin, Mr. Steady Eddie himself. In 19th spot was...
Oh, apologies. It's not loading. I've got a Windows noise. Hang on. There we go. Sorry, mate.
There we go. Scott Malcolm, followed by Bram Van Putten after his jump start. Scotty Angelo for Simtech Racing. Bram Clays, Carl Lukeman, Ryan Walker, Rob Jackson, Matthew Crisp, Ross Nicholson, and Jason Rowe. And a few more to go. Here we go. Jürgen Knockert, Taylor Lane, Jason Guerrara, Rob Sutherland, Niels de Kuiper, Joachim Gulbranson, Ashley Gaffale, Craig Schill, Niels Manchanden, and Daniel Guidici as our drivers go out for their quick warm-up before the final race of the day, the reverse grid race. And Chaz, when obviously we're both big fans of the British Touring Car Championship, this is always the race in this. It's a very similar format to BTCC, in fact. I'm sure that was absolutely on purpose. The race 3 is always the one where you see the real calamities. Yeah,
with the reverse grid at the front, you know, that top 10, a lot of the drivers further down know that it's their last chance to get back through the order as well and just make that little bit of difference to the championship points that they try and get out of it. And I think that drivers like Corentin, who we're looking at here, has won both races tonight so far, he's going to have his work cut out now to prove to us that he can get back through the pack. I think it's going to be very interesting to see how he gets on. And to be honest, I'm all for it. And, well, we've got another wonderful Windows noise there. Sorry, everybody. But it sets a bit of a precedent, doesn't it, for the rest of the season? Because these drivers not only have to prove that they're quick, they have to show that they can fight in a pack as well. That's the thing.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, we've kind of seen that again using the British Touring Car Championship analogy, which of course is I would say, the leading domestic touring car series in the world quite comfortably, actually. And we've seen that, obviously you look at Colin Turkington in the BMW, very strong in qualifying, leads away well in the races, gets good, strong results. But when it comes to the reverse grid, obviously that's where Ash Sutton comes into his own and can definitely move through the field better than his competitors. That's been clear throughout the year. So yeah, I think given the pace, the lap pace that Corentin Guinness has, I think that's going to be the most exciting part of the evening, watching him come through the field. And I think that he will have the pace to do that. At least I think he's got an outside shot at the podium.
Well, I think that we're going to have, either way, we're going to have a lot of drivers that think they can stay up there at the top of this standings here, because it's just so competitive already. I know we've got a driver that's won 2, but he's definitely in there with a shout for the championship. But it depends on what drivers can do in these final races, I think. It's going to be very interesting to see how it goes. But Peter and I are just going to take a quick break, everybody. Just give us a few minutes, just go and get a drink and stretch our legs a bit. And we're going to leave the cameras on auto. We're going to leave the timing up on the left-hand side for you as well. And we'll be back with you in about 5 minutes' time. Okay, hello everybody, we are back, and well, that break was much needed. The first 2 races have almost taken it out of me. We've had a fantastic start to the evening so far, start to the championship as well. What a lot of fun this is to cover, Peter. This is amazing, isn't it?
It is great. I have to say, touring car racing is just such a it kind of does everything, doesn't it? Because it's obviously the main thing is it's entertaining. Obviously, there's nothing better than a bit of crash bang wallop and some good good race driving, lots of overtaking. But also, it's relatable, and I think this is again. You're gonna be sick of the sound of me saying the British Touring Car Championship, but it's true. You know, the car. You know, you and I, Chaz, are of the vintage where we remember the glory days of the Super Touring era. You know, and you think about it though, these cars don't sound exotic when you read them out. You know, the Vauxhall Vectra, the Nissan Primera, the Ford Mondeo, and you've fallen asleep. But actually, these things were. Oh. I remember Anthony Reid referred to them as Formula One cars with mudguards, and that was what it was like at the time. I mean, you know, the brand spending like Audi, you know, they would be spending nearly £10 million a year on British touring cars. I mean, one of my favourite Super Touring stories is actually that Frank Biela, who was driving for Audi at the time, he came up to Knockhill, to my local circuit, to test the Audi A4 Quattro, and apart from coming in for tyres and fuel, he did not get out of the car for 8 hours. Basically came in when the car ran out of fuel or tyres were about to come off the rim, came in, more fuel, more tyres, straight back out again, just drove all the way down, all the way around, all day. And some of the quality of drivers were just amazing, and that do you know what, the cars just now are obviously not as sophisticated as they were then, but nor should they be, to be honest. And actually, if you look at old races of the Super Touring era, you go, this is a bit dull. This wasn't as good as I remembered it.
Yeah.
Just because the cars were so special. But now, I mean, what a product we have. One of the only free-to-air motorsport I can think of right now here in the UK. And the quality of drivers we have is amazing, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. It really is incredible. And like you say, I have watched back some of the previous BTCC races. We're lucky enough to have some from my favourite season, 1999. And no, there was a Vectra Super Tourer, Andy. Trust me, there was.
Oh, there was. Yes, there definitely was. Yeah, John Cleland drove it. Yeah, John Cleland drove it. It was never as good as the Cavalier. No,
it wasn't. It was still good, though. I mean, Jason Plato and Ivan Muller got some good results out of it. Anyway, someone who's going to be hoping to get a good result out of his Audi is Naveed Hussain and Mark Woodhouse and Keanu Bourguignon and Ben Thayens and everyone else behind them. Fraser Smith is 5th with Matthias Titij, Norbert Leitner and Damien Harris. Then it's Miguel Freitas and race 1 and 2 winner Corentin Guinez in 10th. Then we have Chris Wood, Mats Borg Anderson just behind him with Gregory Vranks, Lewis Ward, Michael Blake, Paul King, Jessica Myers and Anton Dupin, and Scott Malcolm and Bram Van Putten. We're just going to scroll through the rest of the grid because these guys are all ready and waiting to get this race underway. So their patience has worn thin, and everybody will be on the grid in just a second's time. And Andy says he chooses not to believe us. Perfectly understandable, mate. We're commentators. We don't often get things right, but the Vectra happens to be one of my favourite Super Tourers, so I'm sorry, mate, but I can't accept that. Still,
yep, I'm afraid I'm so confident I would put £1 million on it that there was a Vauxhall Super Tourer, Vauxhall Vectra Super Tourer.
If I had £1 million, I would. But the third round in the Z1 Dashboard Simracersworld TCR Winter Series is away. Naveed Hussain leads off the line, but not for long by the look of it. Mark Woodhouse gets a really nice start up into second gear, and away he goes. Up through the gears they go down towards turn 1. Miguel Freitas has already lost a spot. Damien Harris has got through in there. Norbert Leitner's had an issue. Fraser Smith runs wide. Very feisty up near the front. Let's all behave, shall we, gentlemen? 3 wide there. That is the 904 machine. Oh, we've got a bit of argy-bargy further back. Looks like a bit of damage for Bram Van Putten's car. He's certainly been in the thick of it tonight. He's defending very hard against Bram Class. Maybe just thinking I'm the better Bram. But at the moment, well, Matthias Titij has got the attentions of Fraser Smith all over the back of him. A nice tidy start, though, for a race 3 so far, touch wood.
So far, well, they're about to touch metal onto metal here. Oh, a little bit of a jink there. Jessica Wires getting the elbows out there as well. Oh, as Jason Rowe is off the road.
Oh,
head through Hamilton's. Oh, big contact there. Oh, more off. Oh, they're all off. Oh my word! Goodness me, is the oil down?
Niels de Kuiper went around then. He was involved. He was one of the cars that was involved in the contact in race 2 as well near the beginning. Carries on, though. Manages to get it sorted. Dettige, look at that. The camera doesn't have to spin far. Dettige is side by side with Damien Harris, and they've got Fraser Smith just breaking away from them now. Damien's got a bit of damage on the front end of that car. Here's your race 1 and 2 winner. Only made it one place so far, but it's better to play it safe in the early stages. Bit of contact there for Matt Anderson. Jessica Myers is off the track at the back. Has she done what? Yep, skating across the track. Across the grass, anyway. It's easy to do that. We've seen it. We've already seen plenty of people doing it, but honestly, there's just so many drivers and teams out there that I haven't actually... I've seen most of the teams before, but not seen some of these drivers before. It's hard to know where to look because you don't really know who at this point is going to be the driver that's going to be making the moves to get through the field, do you?
No, not at all. And of course, with so much going on, it's impossible to keep on top of everything. There's always little things that happen off the camera as well as they go 3 wide down towards Rich's turn 1. Very fast corner where the touring car, you got to get it stood on its nose. And
Michael
Bram
Blake.
Van Putten. God, he's putting people out here, isn't he? Goodness me, that's oh dear. Bram Van Putten in the 23. Running the number of Michael Jordan there, and that was a bit of a slam dunk.
Or more importantly, Leroy Aiello.
Was he 23?
He was.
I never realised that.
In his my favourite touring car driver and favourite car combo, I should say. Number 23, Leroy Aiello, 1999, won the championship and then disappeared. Yeah.
You know what? Amazing. I think it's because he won Le Mans with Alan McNish the year before and taught him all he knew.
Yeah, it's always you Scots, isn't it? Honestly, you teach everyone.
Well, I tell you what, I cursed this. I tell you what, this is just history repeating itself now, Chaz. Because at that time, I used to. I mean, absolutely. With the benefit of hindsight and not being 9 years old at the time, I used to curse Laurent Aiello because he was beating my favourite driver, Ricard Rydell, in the Volvo. Or was he in the Ford by that point? No, he was still in the Volvo at that point. And I was just like, Aiello again. Oh. And now it's I say the same thing about my favourite driver in BTCC, my good friend Rory Butcher. Now I find myself cursing other people who you're quite a fan of. So
well, we'll take that. We'll take that debate to our graves, Peter. I'm sure, mate. I'm sure we will. But still, there's some fantastic
we'll be
talent.
Old men sitting on the bench at Brands Hatch going, "Oh, I remember."
Yeah. We will, I tell you. I'll make sure of it. But, I mean, we've got great talent in the touring car world, especially the BTCC. We've got great talent here as well, though. Naveed Hussein, though, has actually run a bit wide. Mark Woodhouse is looking for a win in this race, and he's cleared off up the road. Now Keanu Bourguignon trying to go around the outside of Rich's, all the way around the outside of 007. There's no ejector seat or missile launchers or anything in that car. Norbert Leitner probably hopes he had some at the moment for whoever's just put him off the circuit. We'll have to have a see if he got any help into turn 1. We saw a bit of netcode with Bram Van Putten. Oh, he does. Oh, he squeezes Miguel Freitas to the inside of the circuit and then runs out of time to slow it down, I'm afraid. That's like going off the end of a runway. Well, it pretty much literally is, isn't it? Seeing as this is an all airfield. This battle still for second place, though. Bourguignon has not got this done here, and there's a train developing behind him, isn't there?
It is indeed, yeah. Well, it's all sort of, yeah, like you say, piling up behind Hussein, and that is allowing Woodhouse to escape in the lead. Yes, this Snetterton did used to be an old airfield. Had a fleet of Flying Fortress aircraft, the same type of aircraft they had at Sebring, on Hendricks Field at Sebring. So there you go. And they actually used to fly, during the war, they used to fly food over to the Netherlands. And having been to the Netherlands and enjoyed the wonderful delights, the wonderful chips and what have you, they should have been flying food over to us. It would be much better arrangement, I think.
No wonder they've all grown so much. I tell you, it's or someone that wasn't growing then was Detige's confidence in his car on the brakes. That was very, very wobbly. He's now got to defend from Damien Harris right behind him, and then they've got Guinez in there as well. All of this time, though, it's opened the gap to Bourguignon, who was defending. And ahead of him, Fraser Smith's up there now. So every single time someone goes for a move or tries to defend here, it's just giving an advantage either to the car behind or the car in front, depending on what you're doing. They're all running a bit wide out of Murray's. Now look at this. Guinez has got a great run out the final corner. And Harris cannot do anything about it. And Ben Thanes is going to try and get through as well. Mark Woodhouse, fastest lap of the race, 1:59.5. He doesn't have to worry about any of these lot here. Ben tucks right in behind him. Lewis Ward, great recovery from him so far. He's gained 5 places. Matthew Crisp, there he is. He's gained 7 so far. Scott Malcolm's driven off the circuit into the field. Oh, and he's in the wall and he's into the abyss.
Halfway home to Scotland there.
That's what I was going to say, yeah. There's a good distance, that, wasn't it?
Back up towards the A1.
Yeah, it's easy to do it around there, though. You know, it's so easy to just drive in your mirrors around a circuit like this when you've got all of the long straights here. It's just pretty over-defensive driving, I think, is the way to say it. But again, another great train. If we just move a little bit forward from this, it's Norbert Leitner, a bit light on his feet, you could say. Sideways there, but look at the train of cars ahead. All stuck behind Keanu Bourguignon. Oh, flipping heck. That was...
Oh dear, that was, yeah. That is touring car racing. You can see the weave and the stone chips of the radiator in the car behind from this cam here. We're on board with Chaz Draycott Park cam on the middle exhaust. They're quite cool, the exhaust of these TCRs. There's this little pea-shooter exhaust in the middle of the car.
Yeah, everyone loves the centre exhaust. They used to have them in Super Tourer days as well. That's one of the things that we can attribute them both with. Single centre exhausts do absolutely a lot of things for me. Huge fan. It's rather annoying when they're not quite in the centre, but I know people that prefer that because it's a bit more raw, and it's like, oh, we don't care if it's right in the middle. We want it just come out the back and it'll do. But still, they do sound good, these cars. This is a monster of a train of Audis at the moment. The Audi centipede, as I would call it.
Like the outside lane of the M6 motorway here.
All you need is that one guy in a Sprinter 313 long wheelbase right behind all of them, on his phone, leaning on the steering wheel, with Kistery on 100 volume inside. Absolutely going, with his Bluetooth earpiece and everything. I'm out the window. Absolutely going for it. Mark Woodhouse is doing none of that at the minute. He's not got the radio on. He's probably just got his team saying, well done, mate. You're doing well. You're doing well. And he is. You know, Mark's been... to be honest, they call him the stud muffin at Team Mad. He's a good-looking bloke, let's just say that. But we all love Mark Woodhouse. He's such a lovely chap. He doesn't live too far from me either. And he is just a really top bloke. One of the nicest guys in sim racing. And in all honesty, you can always race closely with Mark. He's such a clean racer, and he'll always give room. But he's a feisty one at that. You know, he's got that perfect balance of get your elbows out a bit. You know, you'll knock doors here and there, but only because you're racing so closely together. He's a really good driver to go up against, and it's nice to see him doing well while all this rabble carries on behind.
Absolutely, yeah. He's doing a brilliant job at the moment. Is Mark Woodhouse for Team Mad, and like you say, talking about the team coming over the radio, it's he almost, when he's out there leading on his own, I think wonder if he's imagining it being in Formula One, where the have you ever noticed that the voice of the Formula One crew chiefs, I swear it's the same guy for all the cars. It's just the same one guy with the same BBC English accent. They're like, good job, mate, good job, good job. Grosjean is on a hard. Good job, push, 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 push.
Oh,
it's just like, say something else, mate. Have some new chat. Lewis Ward's off. Oh dear.
Lewis is
not been a good day for him, has it? Apart from that amazing move. I mean, he can remember that good move around the outside at Agostini, but you're into Nelson's, and
to be fair, he does a really good job not to hit anybody there.
Here, you like this one, Chaz? He avoided bending the steering column at Nelson's.
Don't get any of that, the bottom of that barrel under your fingernails, mate. Flipping it. That was very, very deep in the barrel. Gregory Franks at the moment it's like looking down the barrel of a gun. He's chasing down Anderson at the moment with his McNuggets share box as they go in towards Wilson. Look, and Franks is just doing, this is what he was doing last season. He'll put his nose down the inside and put the pressure on until the cows come home, but he'll still make the corner and carry as much speed through it as the car that he's chasing. He's got such a fantastic style as Franks, and he's really one of those drivers that gets in your head when you're racing against him as well. As Naveed Hussein is now having to defend from Fraser Smith. And Corentin Guinez, by the way, is eyeing up a third podium of the night here, because he's just there in the foreground in 4th place with 9 minutes of the race to go. So if these two keep battling here, he could be right on the money for 2 race wins and an extra podium to go with it.
Yeah, it's amazing how the you look at like Guinness, he's only got himself up to 4th. Although I did say an outside chance of a podium, so I'm feeling quite gratified right now. As well, armchair pundit here, but Hussein doing an amazing job. He's had a lot of pressure to worry about, and especially if you've got someone who's racing for full send racing in your mirrors, that can't be a comfortable experience. And here he goes! Oh,
commentator's curse!
Me, a massive commentator's curse there. Goodness me, it's like if we talk, there's just oil just gets spread on the track.
Yeah. I don't really know what pun we could come up with having
hot air coming out our mouth just heats the track up and makes it too slippy.
Potentially that. And Marcus Gyezdal, I'm sorry if I've got your name wrong, mate. He says please don't call it a McNugget share box. Our sponsors are watching. So I'm sorry, Sharebox. I really am. And I do actually really like your logo. I'm not just saying that because I'm under pressure to say it now, but I do like that. It does look good. It's a very nice asymmetrical livery as well, which we're always a fan of here at Simracersworld TV. And to be honest, I mean, Mats Borg Andersen, we've said it all night, haven't we? He's one of them drivers that is right up there, and he's always in the action.
He is, yeah. He's getting the elbows out, and I have to say, I like those bronze wheels. They're very cool. Bronzy gold wheels always looks nice.
Chicken nugget brown, I think.
Yeah, wouldn't put them in room 101.
Oh, heck, we're going down that route, are we? Right, Keanu Borgignon then, please save us, mate. He's still, he's too focused on saving himself at the moment. He's got a fantastic train of drivers behind him. Matthias Titij, Damien Harris, Ben Thanes, Miguel Freitas and Chris Wood. That's not a train of drivers that I would want chasing me. And Keanu, at the moment, doing some fantastic defending, to be honest. And through Hamilton they go. Hamilton's such a difficult corner as well in these cars because it feels like when you go in there, it feels like you're doing 1,000,000 miles an hour when you turn it in, but you realise that it's not actually that quick a corner, but because of how deceptive it is, especially in a car like this, it's just... you just always feel like the back end might get away from you.
Yeah, I think it's apt that it's a really annoyingly awkward corner. And that particular corner, because of course every corner here on the Snetterton 300 circuit does have a name, and I think that one being awkward and annoying is probably about right.
Wow, I hope you lot are all switched on to that. Wow.
This is the same chap who's moaning about having a share of £22 million as his salary. You think, come on, man, not good for your PR to come out with that. Anyway,
I thought you were on about me then. I was like, oh, do I?
No,
I was like, that'd be great.
No. Remember, we're talking about Hamilton Corner.
I thought I had 22 million shares then. I nearly just put the headset down. Right. Anyway, I do this job because I love it. I love you, Ian. Fraser Smith then, with just over a quarter of this race to go, has now got to think about the man who's just set the fastest lap of the race, Corentin Guinez, who's going to look down the inside into Wilson's, and again he's doing the Gregory Franks tactic. He scared Fraser out of the way, and now he's got on the power nicely down the inside. And don't worry, Bart, I've fixed the typo, mate. I'll show you. Hey, there we go. Right, back to this. Through Palmer's still side by side. Guinez has got the 333 on his car, 3 digits of the number 3. That's some sort of sign to me. Fraser Smith is saying, listen to the omen, my friend. Listen, you are not getting through. Great stuff from both of them. Round the outside of Agostini. Still can't get it done. Great defending from Fraser Smith. He's just putting that car everywhere he needs to, isn't he?
He's like, I don't care how many races you've won, whether it be today, last week, or otherwise. I'm gonna, if there's not room there, I'm gonna put you on the grass. And that is touring car racing. It's a different rule book here. It's been thrown on the fire long ago. Round Williams they go. Onto the Bentley straight, winding up. Look at that. Guinez fighting the understeer, but has he got a good enough run? I think Smith might just have it, but here comes Guinez. Is he going to have a big send into Brundles?
He's looking.
He's having a look, isn't he? As they come through, he's really squirrely there. Coming through Nelson's down towards the bomb hole they go. And actually, there never was a bomb dropped on here.
Oh, really?
No, there is the motorcycle racers in the original days of Snetterton really didn't like it, so they used to say it was a bumhole of a corner, and hence the name Bumhole was seen to be a bit more family friendly. So around Murray's they go onto the Senna straight, sorry, and Guina is really filling the mirrors here. But Freitas has had an issue. The number one plate, the defending champion, he's dropping down the order. And Chaz, if you make a tiny mistake here, you just shed positions.
Yeah, you just get swallowed up, don't you? Absolutely get swallowed up by the train. For clarification, he said shed as in the thing that you find at the end of your garden there. It might be the accent. But Matt Sanderson onto the back of Freitas into Wilson. Now he's got to think about Franks and Leitner as well behind him. Them Van Putten as well. This train is just phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal to see. And still, these guys are just completely together. It's like someone's sewn these cars together. Really is. Fraser Smith, though, still somehow holding on in second place ahead of Guinness. You can see Mark Woodhouse up the road. He just needs to keep it calm now. He's got 3 minutes to go. It's going to be 2 more laps. And then Mark Woodhouse will be home. But Full Send Racing can be very pleased with Fraser Smith. I did say at the end of last season he really came about with his pace and his consistency. You know, he was always quick, but you have to tone that pace into being consistent pace. You know, Fraser would put one really good lap in, but then he'd have a bit of an incident here or there, or you know, he'd lose his head a bit in a battle and he'd get involved in an incident and just get drive frustrated. And it's easy to do that, but Fraser really worked on his mental capacity towards the second half of that season, and he eventually got a race win as well. And I mean, at the time as well, I was so pleased for him to get that, because he does deserve it. And he's showing us again here just how well he deals with the pressure now, with Corentin Guinness behind. Damien Harris is all over the back of Bourguignon, and further back as well, Naveed Hussein all over the back of Bram Van Putten. So we've got some great team battles going on here. As the Ignium cars against the G-Drive cars, you've got the Team Mad, Fiercely Forward, Flemish, Simracersworld Esports as well. We've got... that was very wide.
Sorry, I thought he was going to have a big lunge there coming through Corums. And yeah, Fraser Smith, the 21-year-old from Swindon. Swift Smith from Swindon. Say that 3 times backwards. Guina is going around the outside. Well, that's... Oh, contact! Was that contact, or was that a bubble on the inside there?
Oh, that's contact. I think he hit the... I think it was Smith hit the curb.
Steak sandwich.
Bourguignon. Oh, it's just a tap in the rear and it just pushes him wide. To be fair to the Fiercely Forward car there, was that Damien Harris? I think he did give the position back in the end. I think either that or he just ran wide and lost a few places, but Fraser Smith still holding Guinness at bay here, somehow. Still doing that. I suppose a steak sandwich is better than a crisp butty, as we have here in the north of England, where we're all northern and stuff. But
and drink Copperberg bubble bath.
You dare take the mick out of my drinking traits. But
I will, that deserves every bit of it.
Yeah, to be fair, David Addison once mocked my my Copperberg traits, and I've never forgotten it.
His 12-year-old daughter drinks.
Even worse, he said it was his 8-year-old daughter that drinks it. But either way, that's not confirmation, by the way, everyone. That's just David Addison taking the mick out of me. But still, someone that's going to be taking the mick now is Guinness. Look at that round the outside of Nelson and Brotherless contact and more of it. And Guinness is on the grass. He's going to come back on across the front of Fraser. Fraser gives him a tap. Oh, you've got to... He's giving it back. He's giving it back. Guinness is giving him the place back, is he? Well, he's taking it side by side. Either that or he's getting very angry. Is he giving up? He is French. He's round the outside now through Corum. Still side by side. Down the inside. And it's actually a win. Mark Woodhouse is going to take the win now. Mark takes the win. And Guinness says, nah, stuff it. I'm having it. Mark Woodhouse takes the checkered flag. There you go. That was timing. And look at this, 3 wide to the line. Matthias Dettige coming down as well. Bit of a tap in the door on Fraser Smith. Guinness gets second. Smith third. Dettige fourth. Thayens fifth. Wood sixth. Wow. Woohoo! Take a breath, boys. Now, I'm not sure what to think about that Guinness incident there. I want to have another look at this. I want to get my steward's hat on. Now, Guinness turns into the back corner of Fraser's car. It wobbles. Guinness comes back on, and Fraser hits him because he's not really got anywhere else to go. Guinness does try and give it back, though. But then he sort of wiggles it, and I don't know whether that's just him saying, you want to make contact, we'll make contact. So... oh, that's one of the feistiest races I've commentated on in years, easily.
Oh,
hello.
Well, I think we're in for a season of it, aren't we? Just saw Scotty Angelo there going over the line. Now, did you know, Chaz, that I tell you what, I don't know if we're actually going to need it after all, but Scotty Angelo has his own coffee company, Oceana Coffee, and I was thinking maybe he could try and supply us some coffee for the commentary box, so you don't fall asleep when I'm going through my my usual yawning history lesson, and I don't fall asleep when you're talking about spec maps.
That's very true. Well, I don't drink coffee, so you can have my share.
For that race.
You can have my share because I don't drink coffee. But you're very interested in speaking to Scotty Angelo about that. But still, here is, just behind the bridge, there he goes, your race winner, Mark Woodhouse. Fantastic job from Mark for Team Mad. The second driver this season to win a race. That's not a statistic that's hard to figure out. But wow. Corentin Guinez, what an evening. What an evening for him. 2 race wins and a second place at the death there. After a very feisty battle with through the middle with Fraser Smith. Fraser still held onto the podium though, and it'd be interesting to see what he thinks of that. But there's not many moments that we could probably decide on there. But did you have any sort of favourite moments this evening from that one? Because that was bonkers.
Well, I don't know what it is about. I guess it's, you get that run from Williams up towards Brundles there, and it seems that all the kind of action happens there. It's a really kind of it's a good overtaking opportunity, but often you do find cars coming together. I mean, if you remember Jason Plato, Ash Sutton when he was in the Subaru, and Rory Butcher, and I think there was somebody else involved. There was 4 or 5 cars, and they all just sort of piled in there all at once, and it was just sort of who popped out the other side. And that sort of reminded me of that, and good to see it. Do you know what? It was good to see some of the drivers getting their elbows out a bit and having a go in that third race. And I think their kind of confidence to do that will raise throughout the season. The first couple of races, I think, Chaz, we saw the guys at the front being super quick and almost kind of just sizing one another up, just building up a bit of a notebook. But I think, like you say, the gloves are going to be taken off and they're going to be left here in Norfolk, and we're going to have a good time next week, that's for sure.
Yeah, we are, definitely. Apparently, we've dropped some frames during that race, everybody. I do apologise. I did try and keep my eye on that, but it's sneaked under the radar. But yes, I like the analogy building up a notebook, because these drivers do have to keep an eye on who they're racing against, who they could potentially be in a championship fight for, and who could be, the ones that you're going to be door-to-door with most of the time. And I think, based off that race meeting, everyone's going to be thinking, right, let's make a list of the people that I'm going to be door-to-door with. Everyone. Because there was just no moment in that at all where we could get any rest, and there was any sort of shortage of action. And I love it. What a fantastic start to this series. Absolutely wonderful stuff. And Peter, if you would do the honours, mate, that's the result from the earlier race. Thank you, SDK. I must actually say, though, thank you, SDK, for the incredible software that we use for the timing. But there are your feature race results, Peter.
Yeah, and confirming Mark Woodhouse, a very untouring car gap in the lead. 7.5 seconds the Team Mad Ace got there, and certainly living up to his nickname that you alluded to earlier today, certainly out on the track. Corentin Guinez was second after that slightly controversial incident, which I'm sure we will hear more about, with Fraser Smith still keeping on the podium, just edging out Matthias de Tige by a sticker's width. Ben Thanes was 5th with Chris Wood 6th. Miguel Freitas, the defending champion, thereabouts, doing exactly what he needs to do, just gather up the points, and he'll be there come the end of the season. Make no mistake about it. Mats Borg Anderson was 8th with Gregory Branks 9th, Norbert Leitner 10th, Keanu Reeves Beef Bourguignon, see I'm saying it now as well, 11th, Bram Van Putten was 12th, Damien Harris 13th, followed by Naveed Hussain, Steady Eddie, Anton Dupin himself, Paul King, Lewis Ward, and Ross Nicholson. 19th was Scotty Angelo. Can we have some free coffee, please, Scotty Angelo? Ryan Walker in 20th, Michael Blake 21st, followed by Ashley Caffale, Matthew Crisp, Carl Lukeman, Neil Stevenson, Jessica Myers, Jurgen Nockert, and Rob Jackson. 29th was Niels de Kuiper, Jason Rowe, Daniel Gadici, Rob Sutherland, Joachim Gulbranson, Taylor Lane had an earlier crash, Dominic Frost, Craig Schill, Scott Malcolm, the Scotsman, he's already halfway up the road, Bram Clays, Niels Manchanden, Jason Guara, and you nearly got me there, Bart, our wonderful race organizer. Well, he certainly gets his plug anyway with him being there. Bart Dillman, thank you for your wonderful efforts getting the leagues going, but you are a non-starter and a non-finisher, I'm afraid.
He is indeed, mate. He is, but, well, we've got to that part of the evening where we would normally do some driver interviews, but by the look of it, we don't have any at the moment. I do want to have a look at this, though. This is Mark Woodhouse's start of this race, and you'll just see when he gets into second gear here that he just creep off the line and he just minimises that wheel spin and gets away from the line and through into the lead he goes. And it was from there really that he dominated, pushed that car to the limit and got the job done. But wow, that was, I mean, I've said it multiple times already, what a fantastic start to the season that we had there. There was so much going on all the way through that entire race meet, and you can see a bit of an Ignium check up there in front, but I don't know where to start of where we can keep our eyes out for the rest of the season, because there was so much to watch.
Well, I was going to say that was a man of experience there. That launch was just amazing. We do have a Taylor Lane in to come and chat to Chaz if you wish.
Beautiful stuff.
Yes, we do. We did have Fraser Smith, but he's away. But Taylor, we shall speak to.
Guys.
Here he is, Mr. Lane, fiercely forward. Now, Taylor, I mean, we up here in the commentary box have been just saying again and again how we can't believe how action-packed that was. Now, obviously, you didn't see the whole thing from where you were, but how did you find that from your positions in the mid-pack?
It was stressful. Race 1 was okay, but it just all went downhill from race 2 onwards.
Did you still enjoy driving it, though? Because I know that these TCR cars, when you get in a proper scrap, they can be a right good laugh to drive.
They're great fun when you're battling, but when there's people just sending it up the inside, not thinking about the consequences, and it causing you to ruin your race, it can get very frustrating very quick.
Yeah, it's understandable, and especially when it's as close as this as well. I mean, we saw so many moves tonight where drivers didn't really want to go for the move, but they were sort of, their hand was forced because of the fact that there were so many people queuing up behind them, and if they took a bit too much patience in terms of attacking somebody, then they'd just lose out, and I'm sure that in the mid-pack you felt the same.
Yeah, especially in race 2, I just felt like one person would go through, and then the person behind them would follow through, and I just had to just sit on the outside and just wait for everyone to go through. Just felt like I was sort of going after you every time.
Peter said exactly that actually at certain points, and I mean it's justified in a league like this. It's obviously only just kicking off, and again something that Peter said is these drivers are all getting used to each other, how everybody behaves out there and how they perform, who's sort of on your level. Were there any drivers out there that you saw that you'd think could be door-to-door with you this season?
I think it's too early to call. I'm still really new to the car at the minute. But yeah, I think I'm fairly close to my teammate Jessica. In practice, we were quite close on lap times, but we seem to be there or thereabouts with each other on track. So I think it's just going to be a battle between me and my teammate at the minute.
Well, at least it's a teammate, and that's sometimes a bit more confidence building than if it was somebody from another team. But either way, great first showing though, to be honest, Taylor, and very well done tonight. And before we let you go, is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to on stream? Yeah,
I'd like to give a shout out to my girlfriend. She asked me to give her a shout out a few weeks ago, but I forgot. Her name's Poppy. So shout out to Poppy. I'd also like to give a shout out to Gomez Industries, Porsche Sport and Opencast, as well as everyone at Fiercely Forward, and also all the league organisers. Bart is putting together yet another amazing series, and you guys in the commentary booth doing a great job commentating on it all.
Thank you very much, Taylor. Great to speak to you, mate, and I'll see you very soon.
See you soon.
Cheers. Well, Taylor, always good to speak to, and somebody else that I have no shortage of interview experience with in TCR cars especially is Fraser Smith. Now, Fraser, you had what we're calling a bit of a controversial incident at the end of that race there, but it seemed like it was just really, really feisty racing.
Yeah, I mean, I can take it. We'll be able to give it and take it, I think. So it is what it is. I'll be all right.
Well, we also know that obviously into Brundle and Nelson, it's a very tricky part of the circuit when you're on your own, never mind in a fierce battle like that. But you still came away from that with a podium. Was that what you were expecting tonight when you saw how the qualifying session was going for everybody?
Well, To tell the truth, in qualifying, I got given a couple 0x's. So basically, the lap time was obviously invalidated, and one of my times would have been good enough for 4th, I think. So it was just I wasn't very happy there. So I just my only aim really was just to be in the top 10 every race. So yeah, I'll take it.
And what do you make of the level of competition going from obviously the first season where you were consistently, I should say, in the top 3? Do you think it's going to be a bit harder to work for that this time?
Yeah, this is going to be a different ball game altogether. I think if you're in the top 10, then anyone can win it. Anyone can win a race, definitely. So maybe even more.
Well, we'll have to see, shall we? But it's been great to see you back out there, mate. I've been praising you in that full send car all night, and it's been, again, just a testament to your development from the first season, so well done on that. Before we let you go, do you want to give a quick mention to anyone?
Yeah, everyone involved, everyone from Full Sim Racing, and a couple of my mates watching today, so shout out to them.
Smashing stuff. Well, great to speak to you as always, mate. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you in a week's time.
You will. See ya.
Cheers. And I'm not sure if he's ready to have a chat with you yet, Peter, but we'll just bring in a Mr. Nicholson, who has unmuted his mic, so he is here for Sim Stickers Racing. I'll leave you, Ross, with the very capable hands of Peter MacKay. And no, he's not going to give you a massage, he'll interview you.
Oh, that's a shame.
No, you'll not thank me for that, trust me. They said, Ross, how was your day out there for the opening round of the season in the SRW TCR Championship?
It was really enjoyable, if I'm honest. I come in from racing open wheels all the time in the F3 League for the Simracersworld League that we did. I only brought this car on Sunday and the track, so running it, and you really find that is a completely different driving style to drive the car. So I struggled with pace, but I really enjoyed the racing. It's a lot more wheel-to-wheel rubbings racing with these cars as well, because they can actually handle it a little bit. So yeah, it was really enjoyable, especially with the 3 races. Like, you got 3 attempts.
Yeah, it certainly couldn't be more different than the Dallara F3 machine there. Obviously the cars, they couldn't be more different to drive. How have you found the process of, in the last few days, getting used to the front wheel drive and the strange diff that these cars have and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, it's really, really hard. Like, normally in the F3 I would use like the throttle to rotate the car a little bit, whereas in this, if you did that, you just understeer. So it's like everything that's natural to me, you just have to forget and then start with the basics of trying to learn each car. So yeah, it's a very fine line on how much throttle you can use through the corners to try and keep the speed going, to using too much and starting to understeer and wheel spin the front. So it's really enjoyable. It's really good. It feels really good under the brakes as well, because they move about a little bit, but they're not. It doesn't feel like they're out of control. So it's really enjoyable to drive.
And they certainly are a whole lot of. Before we let you go, Ross, who would you like to give a shout out to live here on Simracersworld TV?
I just want to give a big shout out to Chaz and yourself for the broadcast. It's always great to go back and watch the races. Thanks to Bart as well, who does a lot, puts the leagues together and all the practice sessions. So big thanks to him and Simracersworld for putting it on, and massive thanks to Sim Stickers, who helped me out with driving, league entry fees, everything. So yeah, big massive thanks to Paul Godham at Sim Stickers.
Well,
brilliant
great
stuff.
Sorry,
go on.
I was just going to say, Ross, after watching you in the Simracersworld Formula 3 series this season, it obviously seems that you've had a bit of a tough time in that one, and you're hoping, I'm sure, that this Audi is a bit of a different kettle of fish.
Yeah, it's just the F3 for me after they made the update with it and got a little bit disheartened, so decided to maybe go give something else a try. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to trying to get stuck in with these and learning the cars and see if we can push our way further up the grid.
Well, fingers crossed you can do just that, mate. Thanks again for talking to us tonight, and we'll see you very soon.
Cheers. Thanks, guys.
Now, I just want to quickly address everybody. I know that there's going to be a bit of a frame rate issue at the moment. My PC seems to be trying to do something that it's not a fan of in OBS, so I do apologise. But Peter, just to wrap it up, mate, we've had one hell of an evening here to start this championship off. I mean, I'm sweating buckets right here. It's just been so much fun. Has there been any highlights that you could bring up, or is it just going to be a case of see what comes to us in coming races? Because that was bonkers.
Oh, I think winning the £1 million bet about the Vauxhall Vectra Super Tourer probably is a good place to start.
It's very true indeed. But you didn't shake hands on it. That's the thing. I'm going to have to side with Hockley.
It's always a loophole. You wouldn't make a good lawyer for me anyway. You'd make a good lawyer for him. But yeah, no, it was good. And I tell you what, it's lovely to be able to do a bit of late 90s BTCC super touring nostalgia together. That's quite nice. Now, one thing I forgot to ask you on the broadcast earlier, Chaz, of course, you're the Bernie Eccleston of British Boring Cars, and now I presume the Jettas do have lights.
They do.
Are you going to do a Snetterton night race?
We did one last season, yes, and David Addison commentated on that with me. We had a sunset race for race 1, a night race for race 2, and we did the same, and we'll be doing the same again at the end of the season as well. So if anyone hasn't heard of it before, do check out the British Boring Car Championship on YouTube. But trust me, the action here is tenfold. With this many cars out there, it is amazing to commentate on. And unfortunately, it's the end of our evening. Thanks, of course, to series sponsors Z1 Dashboard. I know they're watching tonight, so great to have you guys on board. Thanks to everyone at Simracersworld as well. Thanks to Bart Daleman for organising this championship primarily. Thanks to all the drivers and their teams. And, of course, thank you to everyone at Simracersworld TV, and especially you, Peter MacKay. Absolute pleasure, as always. My name is Chaz Draycott. Like I say, joining me tonight, Peter MacKay. Absolute hero, as always. We'll see you in a week's time. And I tell you what, we are very, very excited about that one. But for now, have yourselves a wonderful evening. We'll see you then.